thing I loved so much about punk was that like it was just kind of like a free-for-all, anything goes. I was like, I got an idea, you're joining my stupid band, it's called Evil Engine. It's the evil engine. It's you know, it's a euphemism for like the United States. The US is the evil engine that powers the rest of the world. Like there's like 4 big evil engines, I guess, like in like our society, and that's religious extremism is one of them. Corporations that have like, you know, government influence is another. You know, or political corruption, and Hollywood media. You know, it's like those are like the 4 things that like truly run our society, and like it's like they have influence over like everything we do. Us being evil engine kind of exposed. So we're just kind of like the expose of like all the bullshit.
We all have things that piss us off, but I'd like to put them out there in a more constructive way where people will actually pay attention. And that's the beauty of doing songs that have a decent melody and decent harmonies, is that you get earworms in people and they're singing along and they don't even realize that they're getting a message. And that's kind of what I view Evil Engine as sort of a Trojan horse. We're sneaking in the back door and you're beating the shit out of your friends in the pit. You're having a great time, but you're also learning a little bit, and it helps us get our point across, I think.
We've been considering Evil Engine as like an omnidirectional punk band. There's like no like particular like subgenre that we're doing. It's like we're a huge amalgam of punk rock.
The guitar playing style of the Ramones, just the kind of super aggressive down picking. Some of the more colorful kind of chord shapes that I've learned from NoFX, trying to, you know, meld the two a little bit.
This band in particular is going to carry the torch of bands like Bad Religion and Pennywise that have been almost that level of smart punk where they do have a point to prove, and it's the same kind of deal where they sneak their way in with kick-ass melodies and you're like, yeah, I'm really into this, and then you realize when you read the lyrics, they're really smart. They have something to say, and what they have to say is valid. I'm really hoping that we can just sort of carry the torch of that into the next generation of new punk bands.
I have a huge soft spot for female vocalists. One of my favorite artists of all time is Tori Amos, which might surprise some of our listeners, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it like speaks to some like maternal like thing deep down inside of me, but when there's like a good female vocal, I'm immediately drawn in, and to have one fronting my band now is just a huge thing I've always wanted to happen.
The only difference is a lot of times when we play shows, people assume that I'm with the band and I'm not in it. I've had several people refuse to give me wristbands at shows and stuff thinking I'm somebody's girlfriend. I had a guy standing right in front of a poster with my face on it, and he wouldn't give me a wristband because he didn't think I was actually a musician. I just happened to get a little bit more attention from the male fans, which is fine. I mean, their fandom is just as good as anybody else's.
With Chrissy, it's like having a male singer with better tits. I mean, it's like we don't treat her any different. Like one thing I loved so much about punk was that like it was just kind of like a free-for-all, anything goes. You know, and like it's like you know, anybody who wanted to speak up, or anybody like who had something to say, like, you know, either instrumentally or you know, like lyrically would do it. You know, it's inspiring to like see like such a powerful female, like, you know, like lead a band that has like such powerful music behind it.
She's, again, super talented, total sweetheart, but an incredible sense of wit and comedy about her, but also kind of no bullshit, which is like a great combination for a front person.
Like, what's my background? I was born in a bumfuck town with Jamie, and we grew up being like completely bored, I guess. It's like either like you did drugs or you make music, and like we chose to make music in McHenry.
Mike and I have been friends for about as long as he's been into the genre of music, so like 15 plus years. For whatever reason, we've been involved in various projects that kept us from working together directly, but we always wanted to work together. And once I had everything squared away in my life, I happily joined.
When like I was a kid, I grew up in the 80s, so it's like we all like idolized like Michael Jackson and stuff. Growing up, like from like 3 or 4 years old, I started like emulating like people like that, because it's like my mom always had either like disco playing in the house or like, you know, or like old Motown stuff. I found that groove, singing and dancing and stuff like that, and like performing in like all the school plays and all that shit. It's like that was like what I guess that's my background. It's like I didn't know any better, you know. It's like I said, it's like either like you did heroin in McHenry or like you made music. And like it's like we chose to make music because like, yeah, just like lost too many friends and shit. So,
you know, I look at my body as sort of a yearbook. I started getting tattooed the minute I turned 18. I've always loved the idea of having something that's permanent that I can look at and think of the moment I was there when I got it. The only one that I have that really means something to me is I have a memorial piece on my my left calf for a really good friend of mine who was murdered in a botched home invasion, and I got a piece of her artwork on my leg. So, and it's a bearded lady, and I try not to shave the beard part, so she's actually fuzzy. Isn't that gross? I know, I'm gross.
You can find any of Evil Engine stuff evilengineofficial.com. We're available on Spotify, iTunes, Bandcamp, Reverb Nation, and most importantly, if you guys want to come out to a show and see us, we've always got our music there.